And just like this comment says right here, most Alabama fans are shocked by this because nobody saw this coming. And even though we know it's happening, it still seems odd to me because it's like, dude, why would you leave? This about to be a yearly thing for Bama? Well, at this point in time, it looks like it because it happened last year and now it's happening this year. You know why I'm here. It's a part of the video where I beg you to subscribe to the channel because we're trying to hit 355,000 subscribers before Christmas. So yeah, it's relatively simple. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribe. And if you are subscribed, thank you. Let's get back into the video. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you having a great start to your week. Hope all of you have a great Monday. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. And man, oh man, we got to talk about some more. Feels like I've been saying this every other day. Bad news for Alabama. I get it, Alabama fans. You're probably not too fond of these videos, but like we say, it is what it is. One of Alabama's starting defensive backs / cornerbacks has just entered the transfer portal. Within the past week alone, we saw 8 players enter the portal within 24 hours. I think the most recent update we had was Alabama's star running back Justice Haynes. He left, and now this. Hopefully this is the last notable Alabama football player that leaves, but I got a feeling it won't be. We're going to talk all about that. Got a couple of minor topics we're going to throw in there, including Alabama transfer quarterback Dylan Lonergan. You're not going to believe where he's visiting this weekend. Or my apologies, this week. And to go on top of that, LSU and Brian Kelly, they just landed a big quarterback in the transfer portal. Strap in, buckle up, get you a snack, get your popcorn, get your favorite Miller Lite tea when you watch a video, because trust me, I do the same thing. But all right, Matt, blah, blah, shut the crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, first things first, we haven't talked about LSU since Bryce Underwood. He decided to decommit from them and flipped to Michigan. And all in all, it hasn't been a good stretch for LSU because football team didn't finish on a good note, been losing some recruiting battles, but this is a step in the right direction. Recently, Mississippi State's quarterback, he entered the portal, and it's now official. He is committed to LSU. But I know what you're sitting here saying, well, wait a minute, Matt. Didn't Garrett Nussmeier just announce he's coming back? And yes, he did. That's a great point. What this is looking like to me is that LSU's already looking for their quarterback in the future whenever Nussmeier leaves. Or maybe if Nussmeier just wets the bed next year, they can still throw him in. But that's not the plan. Michael knows it. Brian Kelly knows it. Everybody's on the same page. He is going to be the future of LSU once Nussmeier leaves, or at least that's what they're planning on. I do not expect this to be a situation where he comes in immediately and he fights for a starting job. Don't see that happening. What's up with the comment section? Somebody said, I don't understand why anyone wants to play for BK. What's wrong with Brian Kelly? Don't get me wrong, and y'all know this. I'm not a Brian Kelly fan by any stretch of imagination, but I don't think he's a bad head coach. And I'm going to remind y'all, he had a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback only a couple years ago that went by the name of Jaden Daniels. Do-Rag Rebel said he's better than Nuss. I don't know about all that, but if Nussmeier struggles next year, don't be shocked if he comes into some of the games. I like this comment. Such a clutch pickup. Now, don't have to worry about being conservative with Nuss because we don't have a legit number 2. No more excuses. Time is now. Every starting quarterback needs a 2 who can battle him like Nuss did with JD5. I love this, and I agree 100%. It goes back to this mentality. Iron sharpens iron. It's why for years Alabama players in the early 2010s stated the games were easier than practice because at practice, they were playing harder competition. The benefit to going to a program in the SEC like Alabama, LSU, Georgia, etc., is in practice alone, you're going to improve and get so much better than if you were to go to a non-Power 5 school. Something as simple as practicing against other 4- and 5-star recruits is going to make you 2 times even better. Interesting pickup there. Did want to touch on that a little bit. Moving along here to our second topic, take a look at this. One of Alabama's backup quarterbacks, he's either the 3rd or 4th stringer, I can't exactly remember. Dylan Lonergan, he entered the transfer portal. That's not any brand new news or knowledge, information. We already talked all about that. But guess where he's visiting this week? Georgia. I'm going to say it one more time. Georgia. Now, you're probably sitting there wondering the same thing that I was and am currently wondering. Why in the heck would Kirby Smart be pursuing Alabama's 4th-string quarterback? What's going on? If you want my honest answer, here it is. I have no idea. Is he trying to turn him into the next Stetson DoorDash Bennett? I don't know, and I would love to know the thought process behind that. And I like Dylan Lonergan, don't get me wrong. He's a great, humble young man, but if you couldn't even be the backup at Alabama, and this is for him, what's leading you to believe you can even be the backup at Georgia or and we ain't even got to this, the starter maybe. This is one of the more confusing ones you're going to see. Doesn't make too much sense from Kirby's standpoint, and it doesn't make too much sense from Dylan Lonergan's standpoint. Because for Dylan, as an athlete, as a competitor, don't you want to play? Well, at Georgia, you're not going to be playing. I don't get this one at all. I've seen some weird stuff, and I know some people are going to say, well, Matt, you just talked about the LSU quarterback, the one that transferred in from Mississippi State. He knows he's going to be the backup, and he's preparing for the future. Is that the same thing here? No, it's completely different. Dylan Lonergan is going to have to fight his butt off just to be the backup quarterback, and that is best case scenario. With the new LSU quarterback coming in, everybody knows, yeah, he's going to be the backup next year. Like, there's a game plan. For Lonergan, on the other hand, this Alabama transfer, there is no game plan. LSU's going to groom their new quarterback under Nussmeier, but Georgia and Kirby ain't going to be grooming this guy. The only thing I know to say about it is it's weird, and we'll leave it at that. Moving along here, though, to the main topic of the main encore, the main reason you clicked onto this video. Man, oh man, what's going on in Tuscaloosa, Alabama? Well, if you've been keeping up with the videos, it almost seems like this is a everyday occurrence. A starter for Alabama and a significant player is leaving. Kind of feels like deja vu from last year whenever Nick Saban departed. We had a starter leave every other day. Same thing's happening here. Alabama just lost a starting defensive back / cornerback. News came out yesterday that Devonta Smith is officially entering the NCAA transfer portal. And no, for some of you out there, because I know you heard that name, you're like, wait, what? No. Not who you're thinking about. This is a different player, and he is a cornerback. It is not the Devonta Smith that won the Heisman Trophy at wide receiver. I think most Alabama fans would try to sit up here and tell you, oh, yeah, well, that's not as big as a loss as Justice Haynes, and it's not a big deal at the end of the day because he wasn't great this year, and I agree with the last part of that, but here's the problem. This was a classic learning season for Devonta Smith. Coach Kalen DeBoer, and more importantly, the defensive coordinator, Kane Womack, put Devonta Smith out there in one-on-one situations so he could learn. Because I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody tries to tell you. The best way to learn is through experience. We knew, just like with any other cornerback we put out there, in their first couple years starting, they're going to get burnt. But guess what? That's a part of the learning process. It's going to happen. Devonta Smith wasn't sensational for Alabama this year, but it was a learning year, and he was going to be much better next year. And that's what sucks, and this is where I'm going with this. I guess I could have just said this to shorten all that. We developed him this year, and now somebody's going to reap the benefits of that. And that somebody, at least where it stands right now, is not going to be us. And I'm glad to see some people understand this, because this person wrote, shout out to Nick, this ain't good. A lot of time invested in him this year, and you're 100% correct. Alabama invested so much time in him this year, and it sucks because now he's leaving. And just like this comment says right here, most Alabama fans are shocked by this because nobody saw this coming. And even though we know it's happening, it still seems odd to me because it's like, dude, why would you leave? Think about it. You're going to be a starter next year. You've been in the system. Alabama is going to be bare minimum a top 15 team. What are you doing? Does he not like the coaches? Does he not like the locker room? Does he not like Alabama? I mean, there's so many questions. And I already know you're going to have the Alabama haters and trolls say, Matt, you just got to come to terms with reality, my man, that Alabama's washed up. That ain't got nothing to do with this. It has everything to do with if Devonta Smith transfers and go to a school in which the head coach or defensive coordinator winds up not liking him, he may not be a starter. I don't think enough people talk about this. It is risky as a starter to transfer elsewhere and just assume you're going to be starting there. A lot of things can happen. For example, Devonta Smith, and I'm not hoping this happens, I'm wishing him the best of luck, but he could transfer too. Let's say he goes to Penn State. He gets to Penn State, he enrolls in classes, and then boom, out of thin air, James Franklin announces he wants to retire, so they bring in a new head coach, new defensive coordinator maybe, and they don't like Devonta Smith. Maybe they don't think he's as good as James Franklin thought, and he's a backup. There's a lot of different elements to it, and take a look at this comment. This is about to be a yearly thing for Bama? Well, at this point in time, it looks like it because it happened last year, and now it's happening this year. I don't know. I try not to think about it too much, but you got to bring this up. Maybe it's because, or not even maybe, it probably was because Alabama didn't make the playoffs. And there is some uncertainty at Alabama because they're going to have a new quarterback next year, and you never know how that's going to turn out. Maybe he didn't like Kane Womack, and I can't blame him because Womack and the offensive coordinator, Nick Sheridan, did a terrible job this year. There's a lot of different elements to it, and I could sit up here and guess, assume, and speculate all day long, but the bottom line is, I have no idea why he's leaving. And it really doesn't matter why he's leaving, because guess what? He's leaving. What I do know is we got to replace him. And it's not going to be the end of the world because, fortunately, at Bama, you just plug in the next 4 or 5 star. But what does hurt, and I can't emphasize this enough, is we're losing the experience. So now what's going to happen is whoever starts for him next year or in his spot, it's going to be another learning year where we just had that for him. Many more things I could say. We'll end it off here. Let me know your thoughts on all this down below. But